Thank you, Mr.
Welcome.
Chairman, and good morning. Chairman Miller and Ranking Member McKeon, who was here just a moment ago, and other members of the committee. I'm honored to be here today, and I thank you for this hearing. I think this is critically important to the competitiveness of our country, and I appreciate the opportunity to present my perspective on this vital important issue. Prior to my service in the United States House, I had the privilege of serving 8 years as the elected state superintendent of the schools of North Carolina. And I have the distinction, I guess, of having some perspective that others might not have. So I have that rare firsthand knowledge of how important a quality building is to the educational goals that we hold for our schools and the challenges that these schools face in inadequate facilities. There really is no substitute for bricks and mortars, when it comes to quality schools. But let me just give you a perspective. Across my district, school officials are striving to provide first-class educational opportunities with infrastructure that has not kept up with the times, and it's not really their fault. So let me give you some examples. Simply put, our schools are bursting at the seams. Principals and teachers are waging a daily struggle to educate our children in overcrowded classrooms, converted restrooms, broomed closets, and temporary trailers. For example, Harnett County, was just a few miles from my hometown of Lillington, deals with this problem every day. Harnett Central has earned a record of high standards and outstanding achievement despite the fact that they have overcrowding problems. Principal Ken Jernigan and his staff work miracles with these young people with a main building originally designed for 960 people. They now enroll 1,392 students and 275 faculty and staff. They have been forced to deploy 22 trailers, which creates safety problems, security, and supervisor issues. Approximately 33 buses unload between 7:15 and 7:45 each morning. That leaves less than 1 minute for each bus to unload and move if you use those numbers accordingly. These overcrowding problems are not unique to Harnett Central. According to the 2005 Public School Facility Needs Assessment by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, Harnett County needs $222 million over the next 5 years for school construction, modernization, and renovations. Nearby Johnston County, my home county where I grew up, needs $221 million. Wake County, the capital county of North Carolina, needs $1.4 billion to provide quality facilities for our children. And those are just 3 counties in my district. And, Mr. Chairman, one would hear those numbers and think they're standing still. These counties are passing bond issues, they're borrowing money, and they have just about reached their limits. Across North Carolina, local communities are crying out for help with school construction. During my final year as state superintendent, we passed a $1.8 billion statewide bond issue that was matched by the locals. That was the largest bond issue at that time ever passed in North Carolina for school construction. But even after the historic investment, the more recent assessment documented that we have $9.8 billion in unmet school construction needs just in North Carolina. It is plain as day that the state lacks the capacity to deal with this issue, and we need national attention. My state is not alone. The National Clearinghouse for Education Facilities estimated in 1998 that the average public school building in the United States was 42 years old at that time, and obviously they've gotten older. The National Education Association 2000 report, Modernizing Our School, estimates that total school facility needs nationwide to be $300 billion. Part of the problem we have had grappling with this problem from the federal level is a lack of reliable numbers in real time. Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the Education and Labor Committee request an updated report from the Government Accounting Office to provide a comprehensive assessment of this problem so that we'll have in real time good numbers. I've been working now for nearly 10 years to pass the school construction legislation. It is one of the first bills I introduced in my freshman term. This Congress, I've teamed up with my colleague, Chairman Charlie Rangel, and Republican Congressman Jim Ramstad of the Ways and Means Committee to introduce H.R. 2470. the America's Better Classroom Act. This creative bill enjoys the support of 217 co-sponsors in the U.S. House from both parties, including many members of this committee. H.R. 2470 will provide a federal tax credit to the holders of local school construction bonds to leverage school construction funding for some $25 billion across America. Local communities are ready to take action to get these projects rolling as soon as they get the word. In North Carolina, as an example, officials estimate that they can begin funding projects within 30 to 60 days. They have them on the shelf ready to go with no money. Other legislative programs and proposals under the jurisdiction of this committee could authorize appropriations through the Department of Education for school construction and modernization. Whatever legislative vehicle is most possible, the need for action of this Congress could not be more clear, Mr. Chairman. Some people are saying the quality of the facilities don't matter. Tell that to the Chamber of Commerce when they're trying to recruit new businesses. Some people say that schools can make do with what they've got. Tell that to the student whose God-given ability are never realized because his or her schools are overcrowded and do not have the proper equipment so that they can reach their individual needs and the teachers can reach them at their level and measure and find their weaknesses as students. Some people say education's too expensive. Mr. Chairman, I say it's a whole lot cheaper than the price of ignorance. In the 21st century, America cannot afford to turn a blind eye of indifference to the struggles of local schools. Whether we like it or not, the global marketplace is a reality. And our national competitiveness depends on effective federal-local partnerships to make every school in a world-class learning institution. That effort begins with school construction. I commend this committee for holding this hearing, and I hope the Congress will pass meaningful school construction legislation in 2008 that the President of the United States will sign into law. Mr. Chairman, I brought with me a single red brick to symbolize that our communities need help from this Congress. Bricks symbolize schools, the building block of our future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.